Think of a beer so desirable that it became a plot point of a blockbuster film, and its scarcity made people drive thousands of miles just to get a sip. This is the untold story of Coors Brewing, the brand that survived floods, prohibition, and fierce backlash, yet still found ways to thrive. How did a small Colorado brewery grow into an empire known for its innovation, scandals, and a legacy filled with both fortune and controversy? Let's find out. It all began in 1868 when Adolph Coors, a 21-year-old apprentice brewer from Prussia, stored away on a ship bound for America. With little more than dreams and ambition, he made his way to Golden, Colorado, where in 1873 he started a brewery on the banks of Clear Creek. But this wasn't an easy ride. Coors Brewing faced early trials, like surviving a devastating flood and a major economic depression that wiped out many of its competitors. Yet, the company stood strong, earning a name for itself among the miners, who fondly dubbed its flagship product banquet beer. And then came the biggest challenge of all, Prohibition. Colorado went dry in 1916, 4 years before the rest of the nation. So how did Coors Brewing stay afloat when selling beer was illegal? The answer lies in ingenuity. Adolph Coors pivoted to producing malted milk, non-alcoholic beverages, and even leaned into a side business, a porcelain manufacturing company. This clever pivot kept the company alive until Prohibition ended, proving that adaptability was in Coors' DNA. As the brewery thrived, the Coors family story was marked by both triumph and tragedy. Adolph Coors' son, Adolph Jr., took the reins during the Prohibition era and later handed it to his 3 sons. In 1959, Bill Coors, one of Adolph Jr.'s sons, introduced a groundbreaking invention, the aluminum can. It may seem mundane now, but this revolutionized the beverage industry, making cans lighter, easier to ship, and more environmentally friendly. The change propelled Coors into a new era, setting the stage for the company's explosive growth in the 1970s. But even with their success, the Coors family couldn't escape heartbreak. On February 9, 1960, Adolph Coors III, the eldest son of Adolph Jr., was kidnapped on his way to work in Golden, Colorado. His car was found abandoned with blood nearby, sparking a massive search across the country. The family, along with the nation, anxiously awaited news, but their hopes were crushed when his body was found 7 months later in a remote area. Adolph III had been murdered, leaving behind his wife and 4 young children. The crime, committed by escaped convict Joseph Corbett Jr., shocked everyone and left a lasting wound on the Coors family. But despite the grief, the family and company pushed forward, growing the Coors empire even with the shadow of this tragedy hanging over them. The 1970s were Coors Brewing's golden years, but what made this era so remarkable? Between 1965 and 1975, Coors catapulted from the 12th to the 4th largest brewing company in the U.S., despite being sold in only 11 states. Their beer was so coveted that people smuggled cases of it across state lines, turning it into a must-have item for beer lovers. Vice President Gerald Ford was even rumored to have taken Coors back to Washington in his luggage after a Colorado ski trip. Then, in 1977, Hollywood cemented the Coors mystique with the film Smokey and the Bandit, starring Burt Reynolds. The plot centered on a cross-country chase to smuggle 400 cases of Coors into Georgia, turning the beer into a pop culture icon. But while the film romanticized Coors, reality at the Golden, Colorado brewery was far from glamorous. Behind the scenes, the 1977 workers' strike revealed a brewing storm. When Coors employees crossed the picket lines and ousted the union, it sparked a wave of boycotts led by the AFL-CIO. Coors' anti-union stance was just the tip of the iceberg. Since the 1960s, the company had used lie detector tests on job applicants to screen out communists, drug users, and gay individuals. The practice continued until 1986 and left a stain on the company's reputation. The Hispanic community also played a significant role in the protests, positioning itself at the forefront of the early boycotts. They protested Coors' discriminatory hiring practices and opposed Joseph Coors' political actions, like his resistance to funding a Chicano studies program at the University of Colorado. The backlash gained momentum in 1984 when Bill Coors made racially insensitive remarks, suggesting that Africans lacked the intellectual capacity to succeed. That inflammatory statement, coupled with his claim that Black Americans should feel grateful their ancestors were brought to the United States through the horrors of slavery for the opportunities they now have, led to further outrage, and soon 500 liquor stores in Southern California joined the boycott. Coors attempted damage control, pledging $625 million to minority communities, but the damage to its image had already impacted its market share. By 1984, Coors' share in California had plummeted from 40% to just 14%. Amid controversy, Coors knew it had to evolve. So how did the company turn things around? By beginning an eastward expansion in the 1980s, pushing its products into new markets. It also joined the light beer revolution in 1978 with Coors Light, a move that paid off handsomely. Packaged in its now iconic silver can, the Silver Bullet became wildly popular among college students and young drinkers. 3 decades later, Coors' original banquet beer only held a small 0.5% of the U.S. beer market, while Coors Light had surged to capture 8%. By 2011, Coors Light even overtook Budweiser to become the second best-selling beer in the country. It held on to this spot until 2019, trailing only Bud Light, though its market share had begun to decline, dropping to 6.8%. With Americans' drinking habits shifting towards craft brews and Mexican imports, the Coors brand, now a part of a larger conglomerate, had to adapt to these new tastes. Facing market pressures, Coors Brewing became part of a series of major mergers. In 2005, it combined forces with Canada's Molson, forming Molson Coors. This $3.4 billion merger brought 2 iconic North American breweries under one umbrella. Then, in 2008, Molson Coors and Saab Miller created a joint venture, Miller Coors, to save costs and compete with the behemoth Anheuser-Busch. The beer landscape was changing, and Coors knew it had to keep up. As customers turned to hard seltzers and non-alcoholic options, Molson Coors pivoted once again. The company launched Vizzy Hard Seltzer and Coors Seltzer, aiming to capture younger, health-conscious drinkers. The seltzer market became a gold rush, and Molson Coors, using marketing strategies that emphasized the brand's signature refreshment appeal, capitalized on the strong branding of Coors Light. To further expand their presence, Molson Coors partnered with the Coca-Cola Company to introduce Topo Chico Hard Seltzer, leveraging the existing popularity of Topo Chico mineral water. By positioning its hard seltzer brands effectively, Molson Coors saw remarkable growth. For instance, Vizzy saw an astounding 240.4% increase in volume sales in early 2021, while Topo Chico quickly climbed to become one of the top seltzers in the market, all within a short time of its launch. This success came despite broader market challenges, as larger brands like White Claw and Bud Light faced declining sales. But as consumer tastes evolve and new competitors emerge, will Coors continue to reinvent itself? Or will it become a relic of a bygone era? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.